What's up, and welcome to the Jon-Files. And today I'm going to bring you a book review for a movie that I'm actually really excited for that's coming out. So I wanted to listen to it, read it in preparation for the movie, and it's Ready Player One. I don't have the book, so this is where I'm going to put the picture of the book / movie poster. Yeah. So it stars Ty Sheridan and a bunch of other people, and the synopsis, real quick synopsis, is an autistic billionaire dies randomly, no family, no friends, and he leaves behind an Easter egg that is worth $240 billion, most of the rights to his company, pretty much the whole company, and the ownership of the Oasis, which is the virtual world that this whole book takes place. Except for, it takes place on Earth, but the virtual reality world is the Oasis. And so he dies, and when he dies, he releases his will, and in his will, he releases, it's called the Anorak's Invitation. Anorak was James Halliday, the billionaire, his handle for the Oasis, his name for his Dungeon and Dragons thing he did, Anorak. He was like a wizard. And so he releases the Anorak Invitation, which is like his will, and so it has a bunch of recreations of some of his favorite movies, scenes like his funeral. He recreates a scene from Heather's, the funeral scene, and it's his funeral instead. He recreates I forget what scene it was, but he does that throughout the Anorak Invitation, and riddled throughout are all clues that would help one decipher some of the clues you would find, like the keys and the gates and stuff. So there's millions of people who are watching this Anorak Invitation over and over and over and over again, frame by frame, trying to find any clue to find the first key. And so this goes on for 5 years before anyone finds anything. And then, the guy we follow, Wade Watts, Parzival, is the first one to find the key. He's like 18, and he finds the first key, and he finds the first gate. 3 keys, 3 gates. Find the last gate, beat the last thing you have to do. $240 billion. So there's clans, gangs, all these people that are teaming up trying to find this $240 billion. And also there's a big company that creates a separate division of its company just for this. It's called the IOI, Innovative something. I forget what it stands for. I probably should have looked it up. But they're called IOI throughout the whole book, and they have this whole group. They're called the Oology Division, but they're called the Sixers. Everyone calls them the Sixers. They're hired they're there just to find the Easter egg. So there's these dudes coming in, clocking in 9 to 5, looking for this egg for 5 years. And so there's all these people looking. And so Parzival stumbles across, a way to solve the first riddle. He gets the first key, he gets the first gate, and now the game is on. There's a scoreboard that everyone can see in their Oasis, and his name pops up. Everyone goes overnight, not even overnight, instantly, celebrity, famous. And, he gets a bunch of ads, and he can start, advertising his avatar. He starts making a bunch of money. But then eventually a second person gets on the scoreboard, a third person, fourth, fifth, then a bunch of the IOI guys. And so from then on, it's just a race to beat IOI, because a bunch of stuff happens. I don't really want to spoil some of the minor details and stuff. I'm gonna try to stay away from spoilers, but there is some stuff I might talk about. First, I want to talk about a couple things about the book I didn't really like. It kind of irritated me. It happened 4 times. I could tell that because the guy who wrote it, Ernest, he did screenplays before this. This was his first book. I watched an interview, and he was saying how he had to keep coming back to it because he knew he wanted to finish it, but he kept struggling with it. And so there was a couple parts where I was like, this is totally just page filler, or he just needed to meet his word count, that he said he would make. It happened 4 times where Parzival would look at the scoreboard. We're pretty much him. So he would look at the scoreboard, and he would be like, the scores are as follows. And he would be like, number 1, Parzival, 100, 1,000. Number 2, Artemis. He would do Artemis, and he would do H, and then the 2 other, Shoto and Daito, those are the top 5. and then he would do the because it goes to 10, then he would do the 6 to 10, IOI 626 715 105,000. Number 7, IOI, all the way to 10. And now, it was so frustrating because it happens like 5 times. And I'm just like, are you serious? It gets annoying because, I can't just skip the paragraph. I have to like listen to it. I'm not going to go and just skip through it. I just sit there and I'm like, come on, dude, this is like 2 minutes. And what else? There was, toward the beginning, when, it's like introducing us to the Oasis through Wade. It spends like so long. I don't know how many pages it would be, because for me it was like 20 minutes of audiobook, which is a lot of pages, of him just explaining the Oasis and the stuff you can do, and like the contest and the Gunters, which are like the egg hunters, and just everything. Explained it for so long. Like, I don't know why. Like, if you ever read the book, you know what I'm talking about, or it's just me. I felt like he went into detail a lot on a lot of things. Like, Steven Spielberg is going to have a lot of great details and stuff, from the source material to draw from. Like his hideout, he goes into detail how big it is, the stuff that's in there, like what he looks like, what Artemis looks like, what everyone looks like. He goes into very good detail. So we're going to probably get a really good recreation of what they actually look like, which I'm really excited on. And another thing I'm kind of worried about is, one thing a lot of people are talking about, is if Steven Spielberg is going to be able to get all the rights to everything that's in this movie. Because if you've read the book, there's a lot of 80 references, movies, music, video games, TV shows, fashion, toys, just everything from the 80s. This is like a time capsule, time pod that just, like, you can totally tell that the guy who wrote the book grew up in the 80s. He is Parzival pretty much. He's Halliday. Just, there's so much. There's going to be a lot that I know they're going to be able to get because, Steven Spielberg directed some of the movies. Like, I don't really know all the movies he directed, but he probably knew the people. He was friends with them, the company, like Indiana Jones, Back to the Future. I already know we're going to get to Back to the Future car because we've seen it in the trailer. But there's so much references, like anime stuff, The Simpsons. What else do they reference? A shit ton of video games, a bunch of movies, a bunch of music. I'm just excited to see what they can do. And another thing that is like kind of me just nitpicking, I guess, it has to do with the actual story. So there's what's his name, Parzival. He doesn't go to actual school. He goes to school in the Oasis, so he goes for 8 hours, and then he has the rest of the day to do whatever he wants. And up until that point, up until the hunt starts, he hasn't read anything about James Halliday. He's not obsessed with him. But once the hunt starts, I think he's like 12 or something, he gets obsessed and he says he reads every book from every author Halliday says that he likes, which is like 30 or 40, which is crazy because some of the authors, I'm like, they have humongous books, like Stephen King and fucking Vonnegut, and just some of the other ones he says. And then he says he listened to every artist that he liked, and then he goes on to say that Halliday had no specific taste and he liked everything. So you're going to tell me that he listened to every piece of music from the 80s and the 70s, and he watched every movie from the 80s that Halliday owned, and Halliday was a billionaire, so he owned like every movie ever. They even talk about it. He played every video game that Halliday liked. He played, what else? He watched every TV show that Halliday liked. And it's like, okay, it's only been 5 years. Even if you do, 12 hours a day for 5 years, I don't think he could do it. He read every comic book. It's just too much. It would be incredible if he could do that. I know it's possible, but I don't think 5 years. But whatever. That's just me being, picky, because the book is really good. I had to come up with some negatives because I really like the book. I'm listening to it again because I finished it and then I just restarted it because I wanted to. It was just really good. I thought it was worth a second listen. I don't want to go into spoilers on what happens in the end. There's one character plot twist that happens that had me in my car because I was listening to it on the way home. had me in the car just smiling, just grinning, laughing when it like reveals, because it's all virtual. So when we finally see what the top 5 look like, because we meet some of them, or H, what's his name? Parzival meets some of them. We get to see what some of them look like, and when we get to see what H actually looks like, it was amazing. I hope they do it justice in the movie, because it was one of my favorite scenes in the whole book. But I'm excited for the movie. The book is great. Ernest Cline wrote a really good novel. There's a lot of filler in the beginning, and then throughout. I could tell he was just trying to fill pages. There's a lot of character development for our guy Wade. I hope Artemis is cool. I'm excited to see Anorak and Og. I'm excited to see how IOI is, how the Sixers are. Most of all, I'm excited to see just how the Odyssey, how the Oasis looks. Like, I hope they can do it amazing, because he goes into such great detail on how it looks, and I have such a awesome picture in my head. And in the trailer, we can see some of the, backgrounds and some of the stuff. But I want to. I can't wait. If you haven't read the book, go and read it. I'm gonna stop the review here. I was all over the place. I wasn't as structured as I would like it to be, and I hope the lighting is good. I'm still tweaking it a little bit. So let me know what you guys think. If you've read the book, if you haven't, you should read it. Until next time, peace.